One of the things that kept coming back in trying to heal my autoimmune disease was gut health. A lot of the books that I read and all the holistic doctors that I saw said, let's look at the gut and let's fix your gut. Now, to look at the gut, you have to do a GI map test, which is basically a stool test. And I ended up doing 3 throughout the year to track the progress. What I'm going to do now is show you all 3 of the tests and explain what I did in between to get the final result. So let's get personal and look at my caca. So that was the first one in February of 2024. As you see, there was no real bacterial pathogens. I did have an overgrowth of H. pylori. These are all the good bacteria, which was overall not too bad, except there is a bit of an overgrowth here. And these are the ones that we're looking at, the bad or opportunistic overgrowth microbes. And I had a lot of overgrowth, then no parasites, and these are like all the different intestinal health markers. When I did this test, I was having a ton of vegetables, which is good because it fed a lot of the good bacteria in my gut, but it also fed a lot of the bad bacteria. And then it creates a kind of a disbalance, which is called dysbiosis, which according to a holistic doctor could worsen the symptoms of autoimmunity. So the goal after this test was to kill the bad bacteria. And we did that by putting me on a low FODMAP diet and taking specific herbs, like for example, oregano oil, which is natural antimicrobial. Let's look at the result 3 months later. This hasn't changed. H. pylori went down, and then the good bacteria is a little bit better. However, here I start to lose a lot of the good ones, and the opportunistic overgrowth is much better. There's way less red, still no fungi, viruses or parasites. So pretty good results after 3 months. And I honestly loved how I felt on a low FODMAP diet. I wasn't as bloated and I just felt better in terms of my digestive health. So I decided to say, you know what? I'm just going to stick to meat and certain fruits, and that's kind of it. And I'm just going to nuke everything. All the bad bacteria are going to die. So this is what happened 6 months later. I ended up having E. coli. That's from a trip to Mexico. H. pylori ended up going down, but then because I stopped eating fiber, a lot of the good bacteria in my gut ended up being pretty much gone. Really bad here. But the good thing is all the opportunistic bad microbes were all gone. Nothing in the red anymore. And still no fungi, viruses, or parasite. So I did nuke everything. The doctor was pretty happy because there's no more bad bacteria overgrowth. But it was now time to rebuild the gut microbiome so that I have a lot of good beneficial gut bacteria. And I'm going to make my next video on how I'm doing that right now.